everyone makes it seem like you have to be on this super specific diet. But if you really go back to like the simple foods like grilled chicken or rice, broccoli, those types of foods where like what I just listed is
Real food.
like, yeah, like, I mean, all of these things out there, that's all a business.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another great episode of Let's Move Canada. We're your hosts, Dana and Luigi from the Canadian Health and Fitness Institute. And on today's episode, we will talk with personal trainer, nutritionist, and wellness coach, Jordyn Pettit, about what inspires her and what being healthy means to her. But before introducing Jordyn, let me start by saying that this podcast is brought to you by the Canadian Health and Fitness Institute, whose mission is to make Canada the fittest nation on earth by 2030. And to this end, of course, our podcast aims to raise awareness about physical and mental health. And now, let me introduce the incredible person that we have joining us today, Jordyn Pettit. And so Jordyn is a talented fitness trainer and wellness coach based in Toronto and in Chicago, who's passionate about helping people lead healthier, more balanced lives. Now, with expertise in personal training, nutrition, and even custom painting, Jordyn takes a holistic approach to wellness, blending creativity, movement, and mindfulness into her work, and also even into her content creation across different social media platforms. So she's here today to share about her journey, tips about staying motivated, and how she's helping her community move forward in a healthier future. Jordyn, thank you so much for being here and welcome.
Hi, thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
Yes, thank you for coming on the show. I'm so excited to have this conversation. I love talking about nutrition and food. So, so let's
That's
start
good to
with
hear.
yeah, I love it. So tell us where you're from, where'd you grow up, how did you get into healthy eating, and was that always part of your childhood?
So I am born and raised upstate New York. Well, everyone gets mad at me when I say upstate because it's more of Western New York. It's like a little south of Buffalo. But I grew up there and then I traveled a lot in high school for basketball. So I ended up staying with a host family in Virginia and then played AAU there all summer for 2 years and ended up going to college in Virginia and then transferred back up to New York because I missed home, of course, who wouldn't? And I did 2 years of pole vault and basketball, and then I ended up back in Chicago where I traveled one time and I just moved there. And after that, I moved to LA, and my whole life has been crazy, but I went to LA and I started modeling. And after modeling, I was like, this isn't what I truly want. I miss Chicago, and Chicago felt like home. So I went back to Chicago. And then I stayed in Miami for a few months after that. And then I went back to Chicago. So I was like, what is my common
Oh, no.
denominator? Oh, I'm everywhere all the time. What was my common denominator? And it was Chicago. So I ended up staying in Chicago since 2020, and I still have my place there. But the healthy nutrition fitness aspect, that I would say I got from my brother. He did bodybuilding when I don't even remember what age I was, but he was a bodybuilder and he did these shows, and I was so fascinated with it. So I was like, his name's Cameron. I was like, Cameron, can you train me? And so he taught me all of these like tips and tricks of what to avoid because I knew nothing about it. My mom is a big cook, but she never really taught us about the nutritious things. It was more so she just loved us, fed us and loved us. So he told me all about proteins, carbs, and fat and what to avoid. And I was like, okay, like this is what I'm gonna do. And then I just started incorporating that into everyday life. And I started training my friends that would go to the gym with me and they'd, see what I'm doing. And I would give them what I'm eating. Mind you, this is not the right way to do it because everyone's different. So, like, you're not supposed to just do exactly what I'm doing.
Sure.
But yeah, that's what I did. And it just became a passion of mine. So I continued on with my life. My degrees are my first degree was sport management, and then it was in business management, and then I did nutrition. So I did get hired at Louis Vuitton for 2 years. I worked there. And the one question, it didn't feel like my passion, but the one question I would ask my coworkers is I was like, if you saw me on the street, what would you think I was? Like, what would you assume was my career or my profession? And everyone always told me that I would be like a personal trainer or like a wellness,
Wow.
that in that area. So I was like, okay, then I'm just gonna go back to my roots. I went back home and stayed with my mom for a bit, and I bought my personal training certificate and I cranked out nutrition at Cornell, and then here
Whoa,
I am.
that is a
Really?
lot of things happening
Right.
in the,
Yeah,
oh
so
my gosh.
sorry, that was a lot.
No, that was amazing. That was amazing.
That was awesome. It's your life journey. I love that. And I love how e- not only could other people see what you seem like you're meant to do, but also you could feel it, right? So it's always nice to get that
Yeah,
external validation as well. So it's no, that's
yeah.
great.
I think deep down I knew I always wanted to do this because it was in my nature,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't really enjoy sports. I didn't really enjoy doing like
Yeah.
the basketball or the pole vault or because I think anxiety really got in the way of that. The anxiety before a game or before a match or
Hmm.
before any
Mm-hmm.
sort of, I think
Right.
that that was what threw me off about the sports atmosphere, but the wellness and holistic health and nutrition, all of that stuff, like putting stuff into my body that I knew was good for it, always soothed me and helped my anxiety. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, my life's been crazy. I just jam-packed everything in one since like 2017 for you.
I
It's
love
super
that.
interesting. I love that too. It's very, I can relate to you a lot that way. Like I'm impulsive, or I'm not as impulsive as I used to be, but it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna move
Yeah.
here. I did a very similar type of thing.
I
It's
think I
exciting, and you want to
recognize,
find the right thing.
yeah, I think I recognized that early on. Luckily, I recognized that I couldn't learn or grow or do anything unless I failed. So I was craving failure and I was searching for failure. And trust me, I failed a lot, like a lot. When I first moved to LA, I was moving back. I got robbed of every single thing I
Oh my
owned.
gosh.
I
I
packed up
can
my car. I packed up my car, ready to ship my car all the way from LA to Chicago, and someone broke into my car and took everything. So
well,
I was like, "Oh my God, this is whoa." And then when I first moved to Chicago, I slept on my friend's couch for a week and found myself walking around a store and met this woman, love her to death. She's still like one of the closest people to me to this day. And I became her nanny and I lived with her when I first lived in Chicago. So I
wow.
also helped her a lot with nutrition because she was really into all of that stuff. So she let me live with her. I took care of her son and her dog, and I got up on my feet by waitressing and I worked at a store and yeah, but I was craving failure, and I knew that the only way to grow was to fail.
This is really cool. I love your spirit, and I love the lesson here, right? That if you don't try and you don't fail and you don't keep trying, then you don't get to where
Yeah,
you are much, right?
right. Exactly. Yeah.
And
Fortunately, I realized that early. That's why I was like, it's a lot of people say it's good to be uncomfortable, and I definitely agree with that because you
mhm,
really can't go anywhere unless you get uncomfortable. You won't learn, you won't grow. You won't become a better person or a better version of yourself because you'll be content and comfortable, you know?
And not building any like resilience and
Right,
overcoming adversity
exactly.
and all those things that you need to do because life is hard.
Life
Right.
complacency is not where you want to be, right?
yeah, life is
Don't
hard.
be complacent.
That's it.
Hmm.
That's the podcast. Life is hard.
Right,
Life
right.
is hard. I think I said that yesterday. I was like, but it's so true. It's like
Oh, so hard.
no matter who you are going to face things in life that are hard, right? It's going to
Absolutely.
happen. Things are
Yep.
going to fall apart. Things are going to go wrong. And what you're saying, it's like you need to be able to overcome those things. You need to be able to, um, because you have to. There's no
Yeah.
other option, right?
Right.
So yeah. So that was that was a very good message to just like sneak into a nutrition podcast.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm so curious now, right? Like with this one lesson, of failing and moving forward, how do you find that that transfers into maybe diet, right? Like as you're helping folks find their diets and nutrition and what the right,
Yeah.
how do you handle failing first until you find the right diet?
Well, I mean, so I wouldn't even say that with diet you can really fail. Like, I don't think that there's really any way to fail in diet because if you really think about it, everyone who says they don't know anything about nutrition or, you really do. Like at
Mhm.
the end of the day, any meal that you make for yourself, there's nutritious facts to that or nutritious evidence in those meals. Like every meal that you eat and put into your body has some sort of nutritious benefit for you.
Mhm.
So they just don't know maybe the breakdown of the protein, carbs, fats, all of those things. But I mean, I really don't think there is any way to fail in nutrition. I always say to eat 80, a lot of people say this, but eat 80% healthy and then 20%, give yourself a break. Like cut the whole strict diet back because the more you stay strict on yourself,
Mhm.
the more you're going to fail. So I guess that's the only way you could fail is if you don't give yourself a chance to fail, you're more likely to fail.
Right, right. And that's what came
And a
to mind.
binge.
No, no, that makes perfect sense. With an example you gave earlier, right? That we're all different. You shouldn't necessarily follow the strict diet that someone else is following. Dana, I've told you many times that I follow a keto diet, right? Because my partner
Mhm.
does, and I failed miserably so many times because
Yeah.
there's just a taste that I'm just so accustomed to that I love. So I'm rethinking it now that it's like, okay, I have all the facts. What if I do a veggie diet, and then there are certain days I kind of just go into some of the veggie
Yeah.
stuff, right? And I find that it's working perfectly for me now, right? So I love
Good. Yeah.
that you start with what you have, with where you are, and you kind of play to see until you find what works for you. So I love that
Right.
message.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you once again won't know until you try.
Mhm.
All these people try all these diets, and I think you should try all these diets or try what works for you because everyone
Mhm.
is different. But there is no specific like keto or whatever, stuff like that where I'm big on being happy because your
Mhm.
mental health at the end of the day is the most important. And yeah, I mean, eat whatever I say, like eat whatever you want. Just make sure you're aware of what you're putting into your body.
Mhm. Be
Like make
accountable
sure
for
you're
those
getting
thoughts.
protein. Like protein is you really need protein because then you're just gonna
Right.
deplete your energy and your nutrients and
Mhm.
your vitamins. And I always say like there's this website. I don't know if you guys have it here in Canada, but I think it's in the US. It's My Food Plate or something.
Okay.
And it shows you how to build your plate. So like, the
I've seen they have apps like that,
Mhm.
right? Where you can
Mhm.
yeah,
literally take a picture of it and it'll kind of give a breakdown.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's
Yeah.
so easy to just learn little things that you can take with you for the rest of your life.
Mhm.
So,
I think
okay,
it's
so
just
here's sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
no, it's okay. It's
Um,
okay.
so here's the thing that I think we comes up a lot, right? So people say they want to eat healthy, right? But um there's so much information, right? Like you say they want to Google like how do I eat healthy? What do I eat today? Right? And they're like completely bombarded by
Right.
a million different things that they're supposed to do that are contradictory, right? Like eggs are bad, no eggs are great, or like, like everything is completely. So how do you like cut through all of the noise and actually get to eating something that is healthy?
Right. So first, I mean, healthy eating is actually so much more simple than they make it seem. Like everyone makes it seem like you have to be on this super specific diet. But if you really go back to like the simple foods like grilled chicken or rice, broccoli, those types of foods where like what I just listed is
Real food.
a healthy thing. Like, yeah, yeah. Like, I mean, all of these things out there, that's all a business. So if you just go
Mhm.
down to the Whole Foods, not the store Whole Foods, I'm saying, go back to the whole food diet and just
Right.
try to consume everything you can that's whole foods.
Hmm.
That will make it so much easier for you. And you don't even have to buy anything super expensive. Like if it's more convenient and easy for you to meal prep or whatever, do the frozen veggies. Do the
Hmm.
frozen. Yeah, your nutrients could be a little less because it's not fresh, but usually when you cook something anyways, it's lowering the nutrient value.
Okay.
So that is something that's like when you cook something, the nutrient value goes down. They're not going away, completely, but raw veggies are usually better than cooked veggies. So if you do frozen veggies and you just heat them up, it's going to be the same nutrient value as you cook them yourself.
Right.
So it's just a
Right.
quick and easy,
So eat whole foods. That's one, right?
whole
What
food.
about portion sizes? How do people know how much to eat?
Portion sizes. I mean, that's something I'm actually struggling with, Daniela. Like bad. So bad. So portion sizes, I would say I try to do like your fist. There's like the fist, you can do protein as your fist and
Hmm.
then go from there, like I honestly, a balanced meal to me is like a fist of all of them,
Okay.
but more, you can never, ever, ever eat too many veggies or too many fruits. People will tell you that's like fruit, too much sugar,
Hmm.
whatever. No, fruits and veggies, you can eat as many of
Right.
them as you want, as many as you want. I mean, make sure you wash them because
Of course.
knows what they're putting on them.
Right.
There's like this wax now on these apples that's like this
Hmm.
thick here. I'm like, make sure you wash them, soak them, do what you can to get that wax off because I don't know what that is. It's probably preserving it, for
Hmm.
shelf life
Right.
at the grocery
Right.
store. But yeah,
And definitely look up how to wash them too, right? I mean, water is one thing, but I
yes.
read
Baking
articles like
soda,
yes, vinegar,
right,
all of these things.
vinegar.
Yeah.
And
Or just getting that fruit wash, right? You just buy the fruit wash from
yes,
the
yes.
grocery store. It's probably ridiculously expensive compared to just
Right.
using vinegar, but
Gosh, when I was still in the US, it was probably 20 US dollars for like a bottle of this size, right? So, or
Yeah.
like a thin bottle of this size. So, not too bad, but it's good to have. And
Speaking of,
yeah.
oh, sorry to
no,
interrupt
no,
you.
go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, speaking of the fruit wash or the wash that's like made for you convenient, that makes me think about the like the first thing I think of is cream cheese, for example. Like that is a cream cheese itself is not that bad for you, but then when you go to like a flavored cream cheese,
Oh no.
Really?
that's
Don't
where
tell me
that
that.
yeah. So
No
a
way.
flavored cream cheese is like that's where it's like, that's where the devil is right there because
Okay, why
there's
why is
so much
that?
sugar. There's so much
Oh.
sugar added. There's so many natural flavors added. All these additives are in there. It's so much better to just do regular plain cream cheese and put fruit on top because
That
like
actually makes
that's just like they're making it
Okay.
more convenient for you and they're probably raising the price, but it's actually worse for you.
got it.
Right.
So that's just like one example I was thinking of, like the fruit wash, that's convenient, and
Hmm.
it's probably the same, but I don't know what is in the fruit wash. So that just made me
Right.
think of
No, that's a
like
good point. It's a good point.
that
I mean, you want to
example.
eat, you don't want to just take your one thing off and replace it with some other chemical, right?
Exactly.
Right,
And
exactly. They make it convenient for you and then they'll raise the price. Like I said, everything
Yeah.
is a business, they all need to make money somehow. I get it. I want to do the same thing. But
Right. Right.
really think about it, like just do the simpler way instead of I know it's simple to just buy the flavored cream cheese, but
Hmm.
that was just an
Hmm.
example. There's so many different things you can do that are like or if anything says I'm trying to think of another example.
Like
Like with
frozen dinners.
yeah, frozen dinners. Yeah, anything that's I was thinking of like eggs where they say or even meat where they say it's like grass fed, whatever, all these things. But one, you don't really know. And also look for grass fed, grass finished because they could be grass fed and then right before they, you know, they are
No
stuffed with
way.
gluten. Yeah,
Yeah, right.
yeah,
All of these terms that you have to be aware of.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, they can really put out whatever they want, and I know there's like the FDA and stuff, but a lot of these things will say on them, this isn't FDA approved.
Hmm.
Oh, weird.
So yeah.
Hmm. So you don't think it's worth, so if you're going to the store to buy like ground beef or something, it's not really worth to buy like the special ground beef. You just buy like the regular ground beef, you think?
I mean, honestly, the more expensive and the more like selling they have the sales on the package that's getting you to make say this is healthier, it's probably the exact same, honestly. I
Wow.
Mm.
mean, don't mark my words on that because I don't know for sure, but I'm telling you that it's probably the exact same. And grocery stores, it is a business, you know? It's
So marketing. It's a good marketing
yeah,
ploy. Yeah.
exactly, exactly.
So this ties a lot into the question that I have, which is, what are a few things to cut back on? I mean, when we've talked about how we could potentially start a diet, right? We start whole foods, all natural. But for folks, we're gonna be meeting people where they're at, right? Like for folks who already have those different kinds of diets, different dietary regimens. What are a few things you would recommend them to cut out of their diet, or maybe replace it, right, so that it has a big impact? I mean, we've already talked about cream cheese, right? Don't get the flavored one. Maybe get the plain one. Add some
Yes,
fruits or add
yes,
garlic and onion just to give it that taste, right? So,
yeah,
what are some
exactly.
things folks could cut out or replace?
So actually I brought my list that I wrote. I can't even remember when this was. I think this was 2019 or maybe 2020, and I still stick to this list.
Uh,
Can I get a
It's
copy of that list?
10
yeah.
I will send you a picture of this.
Okay,
It's
awesome.
10 foods. It's not really foods, but 10 things to avoid. And I'll just read it off. It's 10 things, okay?
Yeah.
So sauces such as ketchup and mustard, bread, cereal, chips, chocolate,
Oh my God.
soda, ice cream, pastries, biscuits, canned food.
Wow. I mean,
Okay.
can't I know about
What's wrong
my.
with canned food?
Oh my God.
Preservatives and
Yeah,
Just with the preserve, they're loaded with preservatives. And in
yeah.
my mind, I always tell myself, because Oprah said it's okay to eat bread, bread is okay. But it's, I guess not. I
No,
guess.
the thing with bread is a lot of sugar, and that's my next point is to stay away from sugar. But back to bread, eating like a sourdough bread is actually okay. So if you want to eat bread, I suggest sourdough because
There's white
it's
flour.
fermented and
Okay.
your body, it's like actually the one thing your body can really digest the best.
Okay.
So if you do eat bread, I would suggest sourdough. But the sugar thing, bread is loaded with sugar and that spikes your insulin and diabetes. That's just a whole, heart
Mm-hmm.
disease, atherosclerosis, like all of those things. But that's with anything with sugar. So people, I will tell them don't eat sugar and then they'll go buy a zero sugar chocolate or a zero
Mm-hmm.
sugar orange juice.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, make sure if you do cheat and you do eat these things, like if you're going to eat chocolate or drink orange juice, make sure it's fresh pressed and actually has all of that natural sugar.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they're taking all of the sugar out, they're adding in those, stevia is not as bad, but those natural flavors,
aspartame and sucralose and
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
yeah, all those gum, yeah, all those things that are adding to that sweetness. But I would say, like, if you want, it's okay to have sugar, but like dates are an amazing sweetener for a smoothie, or honey,
Mhm.
Oh,
or
Mhm.
pineapple is like, I always put pineapple in Danilo's smoothie and he loves it. He doesn't even know he has no idea what's in it. So
mm-hmm.
it's sweet for him. And
Mm-hmm.
those
Right.
things are fruits and they have sugar, but they're natural sugars.
Hmm. So you think it's better to have a regular Coca-Cola than a diet Coca-Cola?
Honestly, if you're gonna do it, have a regular Coca-Cola. I don't
Really?
think, yes, I don't think that is actually something my mom grew up telling me was because we never drank soda as kids or pop, whatever they call it. You know, a lot of people call it pop soda. Um, we never really drank it as kids, but my mom did say if you're gonna drink it, drink the one with the actual sugar, not diet.
Yeah. Yeah, I know people because they'll say like, well, I don't want the calories, right? And this one's 0 calories.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I've been doing the zero sugar one instead of diet. And I think there's a difference between the regular, then diet, and then zero sugar.
there's a
Yeah.
difference between all of them, but there's definitely
Right.
they're both some sort of
Yeah, they're
chemical
all
sweetener in there. I'm not sure what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely like, but I don't want the calories in this. Well, because there's a lot of calories in a sugar soda, right? But there,
Right.
if they say there's 0 calories in it, which I don't even understand how you can have a 0 calorie soda, but right, but it's
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's
yeah,
still like in there somewhere, there's something that isn't good for you.
right,
So,
right. I mean, it's
but
better to avoid it, but it's like, oh, you got
the
at the same time you
calories
got to be
though,
happy.
that's why people like when it comes to calories, if you do choose to drink the soda and you have the calories, then skip the I don't know whatever your meal is, have a little less of those. Like if you're on a calorie
Yeah.
deficit or you are counting your calories,
Mhm.
that's what I'm saying. As long as you are counting your calories, you can have the soda. I don't know how many, is it like 230 calories? How much is in a bottle?
Oh, I think it's 300 and something.
Yeah, 300, 200,
Yeah.
300, something
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that. Just maybe even skip the snack that if usually when I have
Mhm.
meal
About,
plans, I do
mhm.
snacks throughout the day, like skip the snack or something. It's
Right.
not going to hurt you, but that's just once in a while. I'm not saying do it every day,
Mhm.
but having a Coke once is not going to hurt you. It's not going to set you back. It's not going to do anything.
So it's all about balance, pretty much.
Right, exactly.
Whatever you'll take, be accountable for it, and be accountable and respective to the goals that you have for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, but the more you restrict yourself, that's why I'm saying just do it because the more you
Mhm.
restrict yourself, the more you're going to say, screw this. I want to
Mhm.
go back to being happy because you're not going to be
Right.
happy if you're restricting yourself.
Mhm.
And
Right.
like an all or nothing mindset where it shouldn't be. It should be
Mhm.
do what you can. It's not about perfection, it's about progress.
Right.
Love
No,
that.
that's true. We had another nutritionist on and that talks about this a lot because she went through a lot of like yo-yo dieting and like and I've been there too where it's like I get way too strict and then I just fall off the wagon and I'm
Mhm.
not doing anything right and then I get
Yeah,
back and instead and then recently I was just like okay I'm done with this. I'm just gonna do everything, just not balance and it's going to take longer, right? Because I wanted it to be like results. Like I wanted to drop pounds by, 2 weeks from now or whatever. And now I'm like,
right,
that obviously doesn't work for me because I put it right
right.
back on. It's not healthy for me. I'm basically
Mhm.
starving myself, right? Not good.
Exactly.
So if you just like, no, it's okay, it's going to take longer, right? It's going to take like, I'm going to give myself 6 months rather than one
Right,
month and just like get that on that trajectory, right?
right.
It's so much more relaxing. It's like you're happier,
Yeah.
all of those things that come with it. And it works.
Exactly. That's what I always say, though. I always say it's the sooner you lose the weight, the faster you're gonna, like, the faster you lose it, the faster you're gonna gain it back.
Right. Right.
So if it takes you 7 months or 6 months to lose weight, even 3 months to lose weight, and you have even 2 weeks of cheating, you
Hmm.
still have 2.5 months to get right back on track. And you
That is
probably
it's so true.
didn't you can like lose that whatever 3 to 5 pounds you gained in 2 weeks, you can lose it like that. Like it's
Right.
people do these strict diets, and I get it if you're trying to lose weight for, or maybe a wedding or something, I still don't think that people should starve themselves, but there's circumstances where people do these things and you lose that weight, but it's not going to be a lifestyle change. It's going to be a
Hmm.
circumstance. You're just going
Right.
to do it for the time being. Where I want my clients or whoever I'm working with, I want you to be healthy for the rest of your life and think about your future self. Like your future self is counting on you. Daniela always says that to me too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she said that on the
You
podcast
did
too.
say that. Oh, yeah. Such a great message.
He always
Hmm.
says that to me, your future self is counting on you. So, and in 3 months actually will fly by. Like you can lose a lot of weight and keep it off in 3 months. It seems like a long time, but that
Mhm.
reward that you have, that feeling that you get
Mhm.
after 3 months, it's amazing.
Yeah, no, that's so true. So what are some of your goals as a nutritionist? What for your business and yourself and just in general?
Just to, I mean, one, I want to make it much less intimidating, like
Mhm.
much less intimidating, because people are afraid of it or they won't even look at the nutritional value just because they're like, I don't even want to know, but I'm still going to eat it. It's okay to know and it's okay to eat it, but also just your health is your wealth. I'm sure Danilo probably said that too. We're like one and the same. But yeah, I mean, I just feel like everyone thinks that nutrition is intimidating, and I really want to make it so it's not intimidating. And like I said, I want it to be 80% focusing on yourself, but
Mhm.
also 20% having fun. Even some days you're going to be 10% focusing on yourself and 90% having fun. But as Luigi
Mhm.
said earlier, it's all about balance.
Mhm.
So that's
Uh,
what I really key on, and that's my goal is to make sure everyone is less intimidated, they're vulnerable with themselves, and they build that connection with themselves, and the connection will grow the more you feed your vessel. So the more connected you will be to yourself, the more you put and give to your foundation. It's like a house, your body is a house. If you don't
Mhm.
put that into it, it's going to crumble.
and you know
Yeah,
what?
I like thinking like that.
Make up a good point. Like you make a good point because by then you'll also trust yourself more to make those decisions when it comes to nutrition, right? Like with losing, let's say you want to lose a few pounds after within 3 months. At the end of those 3 months, even if you again just have fun for 2 weeks, you'll know that you can shed it off if you wanted to, right? And you'll know
Yeah.
what to do. And like part of it is muscle memory, but a lot of it is you've gained the confidence to do this, and you do have the habits handy ready for you to go back to if you need them. So I really love that approach.
Yeah. Good.
And so beyond the business and nutrition in general, outside of nutrition and wellness, do you have any other hobbies, anything else that you do outside of that?
So honestly, my entire life is surrounded with things I do for my wellness. So I don't think that my wellness ever goes out of my sight. So whether it's painting, because as you mentioned earlier, I paint a lot. I do paint. I love to read. I love to journal. I love to hang out with friends. I love to work out. I love to watch TV. I love to do anything that is, fueling that wellness aspect of my mental health or physical health. And if I'm not doing any of that, I'm probably sleeping, which is also wellness because
Yeah.
So you're living
sleep, work
holistically.
out, those are like, you know, make sure you eat, make sure you sleep, and make sure you work out. Those are like my three key points.
Beautiful.
So,
Yeah. Do you work out like 7 days a week?
no,
How often do you work out?
honestly, whenever I can.
I like that. It's
Whenever I
good.
can. I mean, it took a while because I would also balance, or, I didn't have the balance of, I thought I had to work out 7 days a week, or I thought I had to have a strict schedule, but I've built that time, I've climbed those stairs, and now that I'm here, it's like, it's much easier to keep that when you do all the work in the back end. So
Hmm.
now all I'm doing really is like I just started doing pull-ups for the first time that I had never been able to do.
Nice.
So
Those are hard. Those are
that was my
hard.
goal. That was my goal. So in November, I was like, I want to be able to do a pull-up all by myself. I actually just posted the video on Instagram.
Ah, it's
And
awesome.
Wait, in November?
November 25th.
That's actually pretty good, right? It takes
Yeah,
people
November
pretty
25th, I
long.
have a video of myself like trying really, really hard. And then I got my first one before Christmas, so less than a month. And then now what's today's date? I don't even know. The 16th. Now I'm able to do like at least five on my own,
That's
just
really
Oh my
good.
gosh, that's crazy.
Really
That's
yeah.
good.
awesome.
So it's not even so much just working out. I mean, working out is a good thing to add into your routine, but I'm just doing like small, short-term goals because every
Hmm.
time you reach a short-term goal and set a new one, it's like dopamine and, fueling that fire in you and constantly giving yourself that good feeling.
Hmm.
If you have a
So,
Yeah.
really
so is it this?
far-fetched goal and you're not reaching for anything, it's like, what are you doing this for?
Right.
Losing weight. And two, you're not getting any fuel.
Hmm.
You're gonna plateau, So now I'm just
Hmm.
doing it for fun. But most of the time I'll work out 3 times a week
Hmm.
if I can. Or I'll
Yeah.
do tons of stretching, walking. I like to walk a lot. My whole life is some form of wellness. Like I'm either, like I said, reading or stretching, sleeping,
I love
And it
that.
talking
helps.
to a
Don't you
friend.
think it helps
That's
being with
self-love.
somebody that thinks the same way, that feels the same way about it?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. Definitely.
That's great.
Yeah.
One funny thing, as you said, that you tried to do pull-ups. I had that goal as well, but I also have sweaty palms. So whenever, for some reason, I get ready to do it, sweaty palms. So I don't know why I didn't think of this earlier, but I'm just gonna get gloves. I think that's the next thing because
Use
I
chalk.
tried and I figured, whatever. I just stuck to the other things. I kind of gave up. But now that you said that, I'm gonna buy gloves and I'm gonna try again because
Do it.
I swear, 30 seconds, I'm like, okay, ready for pull-ups. My hands just start sweating, and it's like, okay, some's got to give. Like, I'll start, and then I just drop. Like, whoop, no.
Yeah. I mean, there are ways you can help that. You can
Hmm.
help your hand sweat because that's your nervous system responding, your fight or
Right.
flight,
Yeah.
and your sympathetic. So, like, your sympathetic nervous system. I'm not saying your
Right. Right.
sympathetic.
Right. No, I got it.
So, yeah, I mean, you can either step back and do like a breathing exercise to get your heart back and, that fight or flight response, but that's just a part of your being. So,
Right.
that's
Right.
okay that your hands sweat, but
Oh,
use
for sure. We're
chalk.
gonna get some gloves. We're gonna get some gloves, and we're
I don't
gonna
think
do.
she said like chalk like 4 times. I don't think he's heard. I don't think you heard her say chalk. Did you hear that?
Chalk. No, actually, I,
Yeah.
I was thinking powder, like baby powder, but same
Yeah.
effect,
Like,
right?
No,
like,
that's what I use for pole vault. When I did pole
Real.
vaulting,
Okay. Right. Right.
chalk on my hands.
Right.
But even at the gym, that's what I use is chalk and it gone.
Well, we're gonna do
there
it.
you go.
No excuse
I want to,
now.
No
yeah, I want to
excuse.
see I want to see a video of you pull
You know,
ups, Luigi.
the next one of our next reels on Let's Move Canada will be that. Hold me to that.
Awesome. I'm holding you to
Absolutely.
that. I am definitely holding you to that.
Well, yeah, after this
Absolutely.
podcast, we can just redirect folks to our Let's Move Canada page to go see me do a pull up. So perfect.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Um, so our last question for you, Jordyn, is what is some, well, okay, you haven't, how long have you been in Canada? Not that long, I guess. Have you?
Since July or August, I can't remember.
Wow.
July or August.
Oh, okay. So as a newcomer to Canada, what is something that you think Canada really should focus on um, when it comes to health and diet?
Um, so I think I have 2 points there. One, I would say making it more accessible and not seen as such a luxury because I don't feel like you need to have a lot of money to be healthy and fit and put your body first. They make it seem like
Mhm.
such a luxury
Mhm.
and it's very expensive to be healthy. I don't
Right.
understand that. I mean, in the States, I would say the same thing,
Hmm.
but just make it more accessible and then teaching kids early on nutrition and movement and
Okay.
they have like phys ed, and health classes, but I still feel like children need to know these things because their parents are just cooking for them or, even if they're cooking themselves, it's still, I feel like the earlier you teach them, the more either engraved it'll be or they'll be even more interested later on. And then if you kind of put it in a way of your older self is counting on you, or when
Hmm.
you get older, it will help you reach your goals or some form of marketing, to these kids. I really think that I wish I knew earlier. I really do.
What life experience teaches us. So it's
Yeah.
it's it's okay. We're still here and we're pushing, moving forward, and we're making better decisions. So it all
Every
works.
day. Every day is a lesson.
I love that. And Jordyn, thank you so much for coming on here and not only sharing your story, but also your perspective, what you do on a daily basis. And it's really great. It's really cool to see you do that for yourself, but also pass that on to other folks. So thank you so much for sharing all of this.
I'm so glad I got to be here. This was so fun. I'm like, I want to come on next week.
Oh,
Do this all the time.
you know what?
Great.
We will be having a challenge. And so the Let's Move Canada challenge at some point in summer 2025. So we'll definitely be reaching out and just having moving Canada together.
Yes. Yes. And you're going to do a pull-up.
Definitely. Oh my gosh, I'll be able to do several pull-ups by then, hopefully.
Woohoo! Can't
Actually.
wait.
I'm excited. Honestly, I'm invested.
All right. Thank you so much. And thank you to everyone for tuning into this episode. Again, we're your host, Dana and Luigi. And to learn more about the amazing Jordyn, please follow her IG on Jordyn Pettit. So that is JORDYNPETTIT. In addition, make sure to follow our Instagram at Let's Move Canada. For the latest updates, head over to our website also at chfi.fit to learn more about our mission. Don't hesitate to DM us in case you have any if you're interested in being a guest, or if you'd like to suggest anyone else to be a guest on Let's Move Canada. So stay tuned for the next episode announcements, and see you next time.